And we're recording. Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right.
What are we clapping for ourselves? Yes.
So that's what I use for production, so I can sync the audio.
Oh, okay. I was like, is there some new intro you guys are doing that I haven't heard about? I really like the other one. I don't know about this.
Hello, and welcome to the Just a Bit Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian Bertazoid Townsend. Whoop! And today's a special episode. I just returned from Retropalooza 6 this past weekend. And here to talk to me about his first experience at Retropalooza is JJ Santinello, host of the Frozen North podcast, which ran for 4 years and 100 episodes. He is now the current host of his own gaming channel called the Game Room Revival, where he talks about retro games and the nostalgic meaning behind them. Is that a fair assessment?
It's a total selfish thing where I just talk about my own stuff and why gaming means so much to me. Nobody else is on there with me. It's just me, and because it's all about me. So that's it. But yeah, really good to be here.
Well, that's what I like about it, though, because you get to hear your perspective on these games that maybe I have a little bit of nostalgia for or not. It's just fun to hear your perspective.
Oh, thanks.
But you also have really good topics on there too that are interesting to listen to, and it's just a fun channel all around. Honestly, man.
Well, thanks.
Hey, yeah, thanks for joining me today. I appreciate you being on.
I mean, we met for the first time officially. We had talked a few times before Retropalooza, but when you said you were going down there, and then you were like, "Oh, you should totally go," and because I had put on on Twitter saying like I'm thinking about going, but I don't know anybody down there, and you were like, I'll be there. And I was like, yeah, all right, twist my arm. And I mean, I got a couple of videos coming out next week. And I'm going to say there too, because I like gushed like crazy, but I just want to say again, thank you to you and your wife, Amy, both. You guys like chauffeured me around like crazy, and you couldn't have been nicer and more accommodating. And it was just awesome to get to hang out with you guys and just talk games and just, bullshit for a while.
Well, absolutely, man. It was worth it. I mean, I've been excited for this for a while. And, like you said, we've been chatting online for gosh, a year and a half. Well, since I first started the show.
Yeah.
And, so it's good to finally meet you. So
definitely.
So let me start you off. What interested you in Retropalooza? What did you think, or what were your expectations before going in?
So I've actually collected video games like for a while, even before I did TFN and stuff. And I got introduced to like YouTubers who talk about collecting and stuff through Happy Console Gamer. And then as soon as I started watching him, I was like, this stuff is really great. And then I found out, there were Game Chasers, and then is when I got into Angry Video Game Nerd. Like I didn't know anything about him before that. Like, I mean, I pretty much like had no idea this whole YouTube community of people who collected games and talked about them and, went over their memories and different pickups they got at places. I had no idea any of that existed until, years ago now, obviously, but prior to the show, it was very recent. And so it was really cool to see that. And this is like, I went to Mo Game Con, which is another, convention for collecting and that kind of stuff.
Definitely, yeah.
And that was in July. And there's another podcast called The Video Game Show that I listened to, where those guys were there, and along with the Metal Jesus crew and everything. And so I got to hang out with them and talk to them, and that was really great. And I was like, I gotta do more of these. This is fantastic. And then when you said you were going to this one, I was like, I can't say no. I have to. And it all just has been kind of snowballing since I found out I wasn't the only one who collected video games. I know I'm late to the party, like big time. I know. I'm well aware.
Absolutely. See, I mean, the whole reason I even started this this podcast was to try to get it more involved in the community and try to find people who are into the same hobby that I'm into. You know, I don't know very many people personally who are.
Yep.
And honestly, I mean, that was a good reason I reached out to you. You know, I knew you were doing what I had wanted to do. And, you know, it was just it's a way to meet people outside of, it's such a niche hobby. It really feels like it anyway. You find people all the time who are into gaming, but not a lot of people who are into collecting or the nostalgia of having those old games that maybe
Absolutely.
they missed out on. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So when you were going there, I mean, did you have was your goal more to find new games, or was it to just experience the culture?
To be honest, I after Mo Game Con and how much crap I got there, I drove out there. So I told you this, and we were talking, like, I had plenty of room because I drove my car, and so I could just pile as much crap as I wanted to in there, which I most certainly did. But this time I was like, I'm going to go and I'm going to try and just maybe see if I can catch glimpses of people that I know from online. Obviously meet up with you, and just be able to get more of a social experience rather than the just going strictly just to buy games, which is pretty much what Mo Game Con was. I mean, don't get me wrong, I got to shake hands with Metal Jesus and all those guys, but that was awesome. But my primary reason for going to that was just to see, oh sweet, I'm gonna go buy cheap games, So, but this was a whole nother level. Just getting to actually I mean, the first night that we got there, you guys got in at what, like 11 p.m. and you
oh man, it was late. Yeah,
you sent me a message like, hey, you feel like grabbing a beer? And I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. So, and then we ended up we had only 2 beers, and they should have kicked us out way beforehand, but we were there for till what, 2 a.m., something like that, just talking about games, reminiscing, and just just hanging out, and it was great. I mean, that was exactly what I was looking for. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I was wondering when I contacted you, I was like, man, I know it's late and he's probably tired, but damn it, we're on vacation.
That's right.
Let's just do this.
That's right.
Yeah, it was worth it. It was totally fun. But yeah, I mean, I think I went for the same reasons that you did, and I think they usually go for those reasons. I mean, the social aspect of it is really fun. I get to meet people who are into the hobby. My wife enjoys it. My kids enjoy it. I didn't bring them with me this time, obviously, but they have gone with me in the past, and it's just a good, fun social thing to do.
Yeah.
And it just has an added bonus of being able to do some game hunting while you're there.
Oh, absolutely.
So, with that being said, did you have any collection goals? I know you didn't go there for any games, but were there games there that you were trying to find anyway?
I think you're just bringing this up on purpose because I wouldn't have found anything I was looking for if you hadn't been there. So I was looking for, since like I mentioned, I didn't have a lot of room. All I did was bring my backpack, and I brought my clothes in it. So I knew I was when I went to Mo Game Con, I came back with a custom Nintendo 64 console.
Yeah.
A truckload of games and just a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't need, but I wanted. Obviously, well, I don't need any of this stuff, but you want
right?
it all.
Yeah, exactly. Do you need any of this?
Right. So, but this time I was like, I gotta keep it small. I gotta do what I can. So I had a goal in mind of just going portable, and I decided to stick to Game Boy games. I was gonna look for Super Mario Land 2 6 golden coins, which I have never played before, but I keep hearing people rave about all the time. I really, really want to check it out. Because Super Mario Land was okay, but I keep hearing just how amazing 6 golden coins is.
And it's fun. Yeah.
Thanks. Which ultimately I did not find, funny enough. You would think.
That is shocking. Yeah, I would think out of all the games that you were looking for, that would have been the one you find.
The vendors that I asked about it, who seemed to have a bunch of loose carts and stuff lying around, because I mean, even if it was complete in box, Game Boy boxes aren't huge, they don't take up a ton of space, I still would have looked at it and at least considered it. But as far as the game at all, complete or loose, everybody was just saying kind of the same thing, oh, that one always goes quick. So, and I was like, man, I was one of the first people in the room, what the heck, because I didn't have to wait in the security line because I got in through the back entrance, which was awesome.
Man, yes. That's another story all of in its own. They started security measures this year, and So apparently there's two entrances into the building. I went to the entrance that had a huge line. Took about 20 minutes to get in, and JJ took the easy route.
I went through because I was at the hotel. I mean, to be fair, I don't know that there would have been any way for you guys to know because they only let you park in that front area, and so that's the only entrance you see. I got a room in the hotel right there, so I was able to see that back door. And then, I mean, it was still a valid entrance because they had security there and people were, checking out and stuff like that. But I just walked in, and then I walked to the main entrance, and I see the line on the outside of the other doors. I was like, "Dang, that sucks! I'm gonna go buy games." So, I sort of felt bad for everybody. I feel bad for you guys. That's about it. I mean, everybody else.
Well, I mean, even getting in early, and you still didn't find what I consider to be one of the more common Game Boy games.
I know. And I've honestly never seen it out in the wild either. Funny enough,
really?
Yeah, I haven't. Man. Not that there's a lot of places to buy here in Kansas City, but
Well, I will keep my eye out for you.
Oh, thanks. And I was also looking for any of the Mega Man Battle Network games. And the reason for that is it's freaking Mega Man. Mega Man's awesome.
Of course.
But we have an anime convention here in Kansas City called NakaCon that goes on around February, March every year. And there was one of the voice actors was there doing a panel on video games, and he spent a lot of time talking about Mega Man Battle Network. He was actually doing it to make some statement about how you can compare it to it was a Sean Chiplock, super nice guy, really, really energetic, and honestly put on one of the best panels I've ever seen. And it was just him up there just going nuts about Mega Man Battle Network. It was great.
Wow.
So he was going into it, and he was kind of comparing different aspects of the game to making yourself successful in real life and reaching your goals and stuff. So he was being entertaining while still being informative and stuff. And that aspect was kind of neat. But I was just drawn to the game because he was gushing about it, obviously. And I think you and I talked about how even something mundane can be, as long as you've got a good presenter, can be sound like it's amazing and you want to do it. Because I told you about the guy that was advertising grass seed at my old job, and I was like, I want to be a gardener. Yes. But so he was super energetic, and the game just looked fun, and the idea of customizing your own robots and blah blah. And I rambled way longer than I should have about this, but long story short, I walked around 3 freaking times and could not find any of the games I was looking for. So there's I don't know, 8 games in the Mega Man Battle Network series or something like that. And actually more, I found out. So you just shoot me a text out of nowhere because I had gone back to the hotel room because I was wiped out, and I was like, I'm going to go lay down, take a nap, whatever. And
I'm surprised you even got that text.
Yeah,
I know. And they were so bad.
It was really bad. I just get this text from Adrian saying, "Hey, you still looking for Battle Network? Because I found 5." I'm like, what? I came down, and of course, the reason I didn't find them was because they were, down in this. It shows how much more experienced you are at hunting than me.
Oh, for sure. I look every box. You don't pass up those boxes, man.
Kudos to you.
When you want to make a deal on something, usually you look in those boxes because either A, they don't know, the price isn't on them, or B, they don't know the price on them, and they're more willing to negotiate and get you a good price on it.
Right.
So yeah, always dig in those boxes.
And so they were also in Game Boy Advance case or DS cases, which I was looking for loose carts. So
yeah,
obviously, I wasn't going to look at if I see big blocky cases. I'm like, oh, that's not it. So look in there, and pricing there were 5 of them in there, and altogether the price on there, they wanted, I think, $78-$80. Ended up getting them for $65, which was great.
Great deal, yeah.
And upon inspection, bringing them back, I did not realize this. Apparently, there are 2 versions to a lot of those games, like black and white and blue and red and stuff. I had no idea. So now I got to get more.
Well, you don't have to, but
yeah, I didn't have to go to Retropalooza either.
Well, the thing is, on those games, I mean, I just happened to see that they were in DS cases, but they had the spines said Game Boy Advance on it, and I would have otherwise looked them over, but I think I saw Mega Man first, which always piques my interest. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if all of those games have a second version.
Not all of them do. It's
Okay.
like a few of the middle ones, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just like the Pokemon games, they just have minor changes.
Yeah, no, I'm not like wanting to get them all just to play every single one of them. It's more just because they're out there, and you want to fill out the collection. But the fact that I was able to get those is just awesome. And the more I think about it, because I know I had told you, like, I'm not sure how I feel about the DS cases. I might just chuck those. The more I see them, though, it's like they actually do look really nice. And
yeah, they do.
Dang it! So now I have to get more of them. And crap.
No, there's another whole thing you got to be considering now.
Yeah.
I've already been thinking about it, but I was like, well, what's the point in doing that? I always keep my portable games in a pouch or a case with my portable system, so I can just pop it out and put a new one in.
Right.
I don't display them, so I don't really see a need for that. But then again, it's still cool.
Yeah.
I would if I could. But I was shocked that those are as hard to find as they are. The Mega Man Battle Network games. I didn't think that was a popular series. I mean, obviously it was if they made so many of them, but
it was definitely the only vendor that had them there.
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of the theme of the show, in my opinion. I went there with a list of games that I was looking for, and I came up. Well, I was able to get what I was looking for, but it was not specifically. Okay. I guess so. I went there specifically looking for Jade Cocoon 2.
That's right.
I did not see those games at all. Nobody had them. Jade Cocoon 2, I thought, is a more common game, and at least somebody would have had it, but nobody had it. I did find Jade Cocoon, but it was case and manual only. I considered getting that and just buying the disc. Did you? Yeah. It's that was a bit disappointing. So I missed out on that. I was also looking for Lost Kingdoms 2. I did find it.
Yeah. I'm laughing because I already know what happened.
Oh man! So I find it's a GameCube game from Software, who has become one of my favorite developers over the years with the Dark Souls series, and I've been on a mission to collect their previous games. That was one that I was missing, and I only managed to find one copy of it, and this copy was pretty beat up. The case was beat up. The disc itself had scratches on the paint. Mm-hmm. It had Blockbuster Video written on it, or BBV.
Ugh.
And yeah, those are always a bad sign. We flipped it back over, and I was showing JJ. I was like, "What do you think, man? What do you think? Should I? I mean, it's a good deal. The guy only had $28 on it, and this normally goes to from $50 to $60. So I was like, it's half the price, but I'm really chancing on whether this thing is going to work or not.
Yeah.
It was pretty scratched up. Also, it didn't have the manual, but for the price point, that's okay. I was okay with that. Finally, I think on the last day, after nobody had bought the game yet, I went ahead and was able to get the game for $25, which I thought was a fair price. I'm taking a chance. If it doesn't work, I can at least take it somewhere to get it buffed, and maybe it would work.
Have you tried it?
Yeah, and it works great, man. I played about, I don't know, 30 minutes of it. Never had any issues. So
awesome.
Yeah, I'm happy. That was a win. But yeah, I mean, what else? I was looking for Carrier. I did find Carrier, and I got a hell of a deal on that. Actually, that was probably the best deal of the show. I got Carrier, and
was that the last bit?
That was the last purchase.
That was
Carrier
an adventure.
On the Dreamcast. Man, that was fun. So just to explain that story, I'd kind of blown through my money. I only had like $30 left or something. I don't remember. And those two games together would have been $60.
Yeah, 60 to 80, something like that.
Yeah. Well, actually, I didn't see what the second game was. It was Ghost in the Shell on the PS1, right, which is another high dollar game. That's a $60 game, easy. That game was also a Blockbuster Video game. It had BBV written on the disc, but the disc looked decent. It wasn't horrible. Also, the manual was ripped out. It had just the outside cover of the manual, but the innards were gone. So I asked the guy, and he said, "Well, I would do 25 on that." I was like, "That's fair. No manual. I'm cool with that. I can still display it. I can still play the game. I more want to play the game." And he said, "Well, if you get more games, I'll make you an even better deal." I was like, "Well, shoot, man, I don't have any money." So I grabbed Carrier, and I was like, I got to get these 2 games. JJ, man, you gotta hook me up. I went the borrowing route from JJ, and he had only $7 left.
You asked for 15, and I had already spent because I got that Bomberman and Bright Eyes. What was it called? Something Eyes. I can never remember the first word. I just remember Eyes.
Eternal Eyes.
Eternal Eyes. That's it.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I asked him for 15 because I was going to try to get both games for $50. I think is what the goal was.
Yeah.
You only had $7 left, and I was like, well,
it's yours, man. If you work something out, go for it. Take it.
I was like, if he takes this, then I'm going to go with it. So I just went ahead and asked the dude. I was like, look, I spent all of my money. Do you take cards or PayPal? He said, no. I said, well, this is all I have left. It's $42. That's with JJ's money. I was like, would you take $42 for these 2 games? He just quickly looked at him and goes, yeah, no problem. I was like, oh, damn. Hell yeah.
Sweet.
Dude was super cool, man, about it. So yeah, grabbed JJ's money and I bought my 2 games.
Heck yeah.
That was fun. But you can't go through a convention like that without bumming money off of somebody at some point in time.
It was also good because I remember the first day that we were there on that Saturday, you were kind of disappointed because you felt like this isn't what I was expecting it to be. I'm feeling like nothing's going to be here that I was looking for. And then the second day, you just killed it.
I did. I don't know what the deal was. I think the first day I saw a lot of potential games that I wanted, but they were all at price points I didn't want to pay.
Yeah.
Or the discs, like I said, were in rough shape. And I felt like Sunday was a better day because I was able to work a deal on those games a little bit easier, and I felt happy. All in all, I got a really great lot. I'm going to do a pickups video showing off what I got, and yeah, because I'm happy. All in all, it was fun. Let me ask you: were there any items or things there that really excited you or surprised you?
That really surprised me.
I can think of one.
That surprised me?
The lady who had the different screen prints on canvas.
Oh, yeah. That's right, because I kept going like, man, as soon as I get my own house, I'm going to get a game room, and I'm going to get all these lining the walls and stuff. And I was like, but I got a backpack right now. I can't take anything with me. This ain't going to work.
Oh. I was so glad you showed that to me because I originally had passed it up. That stuff was really incredible, man.
Yeah.
So what it was she was taking like scenes from retro video games and printing them on canvas. Mm-hmm. And they were framed perfectly in these rectangular shapes, like horizontal rectangular shapes. And dude,
they're gorgeous.
Totally. Yes, They really, really were. I would totally have those up on my wall. But on top of that, she had some of those thrift store paintings where you take a thrift store landscape and you paint some characters over the top of it. And so she had one that was it was a big landscape painting of like the ocean, and it had the Earthbound characters on it. Yep. And they were standing on the beach, and in the beach was the dinosaur, and I don't remember the dinosaur's name.
That would be Nessie.
Is it Nessie? Okay, thank you. I knew you would know.
I think no, Tessie.
Tessie.
I want to say Nessie's the real one, and I want to say they did like a play on that. I totally just acted like I knew, and it was like a duh moment, but now I'm not so sure. So
well, it was some sort of Essie. Let's go with that.
Yeah, the purple dinosaur from Earthbound.
That's right. That thing was so cool, man. I would love to have that painting. I really would. But I actually think she used like those perler beads for the characters, or did she paint? I think
you're right.
Was it?
No, okay. They weren't painted on. It was definitely something that was like stuck on there. Yeah.
It had a 3D effect that was really cool and clever. And I enjoyed it. Like I would totally buy some of that artwork from her.
Yeah.
And I wish I could plug it, but I didn't grab a card.
She didn't have one. That's what I'd asked her because I was looking to get some of those canvas canvas paintings and stuff for online. Like I would totally order those and have them sent. And she was like, "We're working on getting an online store, but we don't have anything up and running right now. So unfortunately,
Oh man,
nothing you can do."
That's kind of a missed opportunity. There was a lot of great stuff there. Yeah, there was a lot of great artist booths and stuff like that.
Yep. You spent like half an hour, 45 minutes talking to one. That was crazy. You guys, you were old friends, man. I was like, all right, go to town, buddy. Do it.
Man, so, okay, coming from an art background, I mean, I graduated from college with a fine arts degree in watercolor, and this guy was doing work with markers and pen and ink, and I've always had an interest in pen and ink. And but his works looked like watercolor to me, and they were all like scenes from movies or games or something like that, or pop culture in general. And it was just, his talent was amazing.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. No, we didn't really reminisce, but maybe kind of talking about techniques and stuff.
You did a little bit, because I remember like one of the first things you said to him was like, "Hey, I remember you from last year," and then it just snowballed from there.
Yeah, and actually what I'll probably end up doing at the end of the show is seeing if I can't find at least that guy's information. I know I took a picture of it, and I'll post it in the show notes if anybody's interested. Yeah. Okay, so were there any? So you couldn't think of any like unobtainable, super expensive collector's items?
Collector's items? I mean, it's a gaming convention. Everything there is a collector's item.
Yeah, true.
But like, I really liked that booth with the boxes that the guy had painted with just like custom game designs and stuff on the outside of them.
I don't remember this one.
I have his card somewhere. I'll get you the info, and you can link that one down as well.
Sure.
But it's like he would literally take like scenes from games, and the boxes are like wooden, about the size of a shoebox that you open it up, kind of like just like a lockbox or something like that. But they have like just game scenes painted on them, and it was just absolutely beautiful, and it was really, really cool to see. And I totally would have gotten one of those had I not been sporting just the backpack.
Well, that's cool. I didn't see anything that really stood out to me either. At least nothing that really, I gotta have that, Right. I felt like this year's Retropalooza, all in all, and I remember telling you this at the show, it seemed to be a little bit smaller than previous years. Now I could be wrong, but it felt that way to me. I felt like there was definitely fewer vendor booths.
Yeah,
there was quite a few artist booths, but not a lot of people selling retro games, which I found to be a little bit odd. It makes me wonder if maybe things are dying down on that front, and there is a bit of a downward trend in pricing lately as far as retro game collecting goes.
Yeah,
at least from what I've noticed. So is it on the way out? I don't know, but that was a big thing that I noticed at the show. So
it's good for people who just actually like genuinely want to collect just for the enjoyment and the nostalgia.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's unfortunate, obviously, because you want people to get enthusiastic and everything like that. But from a price standpoint, I'm not going to complain if something's cheaper.
Right, exactly. And I mean, even at that, I mean, I found it odd that some of the games that I was looking for, while they might be a little bit more obscure, they're not super hard to come by.
Yeah.
I've seen them before in the past several times, actually, with the Jade Cocoon game specifically. I just found it kind of weird that I didn't see them there. There was an abundance of cartridge-based games, though. So maybe that's what it was. Like,
it definitely was.
Oh, man. Super Nintendo, N64, NES games. I mean, they were everywhere. I think every booth had those.
Yep.
So if you're after cartridge-based games, that's the place to be. I wonder if people are selling those off, though, because of those classic systems. It's like, well, now I can play it on my classic system. I don't really need the cartridge anymore.
Right. We just need a we need a Sega Saturn Classic with whatchamacallit on it.
That would be amazing. All those Saturn games are so expensive.
Jeez, that's what I'm thinking. Good Lord. I'm so bad with names tonight.
Yeah. So how would you judge your experience overall at the convention? What was your big takeaway? Did you love it?
I loved it.
Different?
Absolutely loved
Awesome.
it. And that's not like, I mean, the convention was great and everything. Like, I know I sound like a cheese dick, but like, it was mainly because just hanging out with you guys and just getting to talk to, people who were into the kind of stuff. Even just when we were at the barcade and stuff, and we were hanging out with your brother and stuff, it was just a blast just to go around. And I, beat you guys one handed in a fighting game. I mean, no big deal about that. But
that is true.
But I mean, just getting to kind of be among like minds, and thanks to Amy for getting me that bag, by the way. So I had just a quick short story. We walk in, and like I said, when they got there, I had already been there for a couple hours walking around.
Yeah.
And I had 3 games in my hand, and I walk up to them, and I'm like, we say, hey, what's up, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I got these at different booths, and I kept forgetting to ask for bags, and now I'm too scared to go back and ask for another one because I don't want to feel like, you didn't buy anything. Why are you taking one of my bags? I don't want to be that guy. And Amy's just like, I'll do it. That's what I'm here for. Sure. And she just literally like goes hunting for a plastic bag and got me one. Yeah. I was like, after 5 minutes, I'm sitting here like, oh, I feel terrible. She's trying to find this thing, and oh god, I feel so bad. She's like, here you go. And I was like, oh my god.
Well, so, also that was the first time you met her too. So it was like immediately like maybe if after the end of the day, after you got to know her a little bit more, you'd be like, yeah, I totally feel you, man. But that's how she is. I mean, she's a very nice, generous person, and it shows. So that was awesome. If I learned anything, and I usually remember to do this, is bring a bag to the convention, like something you can wear on your back or something. Like you got to have somewhere to put those games. You don't want to drop them on the floor.
Absolutely. But I mean, that was easily what made the weekend, was just getting to hang out with you guys and just be among like-minded people talking about, things that I'm passionate about. Cause I like, even the podcast for I did that for 4 years. And I obviously with Mark and Brian, and all we did was talk about video games, but our tastes are so different. Like, I like the JRPGs and the story stuff. Brian likes the like new high graphics, ultra realistic, ultra violent, that kind of stuff. And Mark is like, I like the games that nobody's ever heard of. And I really like City Skylines. So, and then, which is cool, because I like that's one of my favorite parts about when we did the show, was that everybody was so different. So we had those ideas kind of clashing with each other. But at the same time, like when it came to collecting and getting really good finds and getting old games that were new to me, they weren't necessarily that interested. They humored me 100%. And they were like, oh, cool. But I'd be like, no, you don't understand. I got a really good deal on this. It costs so much more on eBay. And like, I would get so excited, but they wouldn't care. And that's how it is with pretty much everybody here. But, being there with you guys was just a treat. So
I would have to agree completely. Yeah. I mean, that was one of the highlights for me, was being able to just hang out with you and just meet people. I mean, when we went to Free Play that night, Amy, being the social butterfly that she is, went out and started meeting some people.
New friends.
Yeah. Very nice people. We were sitting there talking to them, and then like you said, my brother showed up later that evening. And we chatted with him for a while, and also ran into the Dreamcast guy, who happened to be sitting in the table next to us. And we were chatting. I was like, wait a second. It's a Dreamcast. He was just sitting there, and I don't think I even realized it.
No.
Yeah, I didn't realize it until later, and somehow I included him in our conversation. So I didn't know if he was trying to be over there and not want to talk to people or what, but he seemed to be really cool with it.
Yeah, he was so gracious and just sat there and bullshitted with all of us for a good hour at least.
Doesn't he seem like one of the most kind of genuinely nice dudes?
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you have some of the people that you meet who, or do YouTube or whatever. Some of them don't have a great personality, and I'm not going to call out any names here, but he is not one of those at all. I mean, he was just a super nice, down to earth type of dude, and ready to sit there and chat and
genuinely
share some
love games too.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, I had a lot of questions and stuff for him, and actually, I'm going to try to get him on the show. Eventually, once I work out all the kinks on having guests, on this thing, as JJ can speak to.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right. Besides him, I mean, did you see any? Did you go meet any YouTubers or anything?
I shook Boogie's hand. Um,
Okay.
I mean, I saw. I sent you a text message because I got so scared. AVGN was having breakfast 2 tables
Oh,
away
that's
from me
right.
when I had
Forgot.
breakfast on Saturday morning, and I was like, I'm sitting there, and actually he was next to me in line. I didn't realize it was him at first, and I was getting eggs, and then I kind of looked over and I was like, "Ugh!" Like almost missed my plate when I'm putting the eggs on and stuff, and I get back to my seat, and him and 2 other guys from his channel are just sitting there and they're just having breakfast. And I told you, I was like, I don't want to be that guy. I can't, they're just having breakfast and I don't want to be that guy that goes up and bugs them. I just can't do that. So I was just,
well, I mean, him especially. He's like, I would consider him to be like the superstar of the gaming world. I mean, as far as
He's up there
YouTube
for sure.
goes,
Yeah.
Everybody who I've seen, like, how'd you get your start? Why'd you start? AVGN. He's always the main influence on these people. He was the originator of original content even before YouTube. Yeah, in a lot of different ways. So yeah, that was super cool. I actually did meet him. Amy waited in line because she also loves his stuff. So she waited in line for, dude, a good hour, I would say, while I was out shopping around. And she called me when she got near to the end of the line and said, "Hey, go buy an NES game so he can sign this for me." I was like, "Oh shoot, you're asking me to get a game and you're that close? You should have asked me this a long time ago." So what I did is I went to every vendor and everybody had this game right here. It's
that they did.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the NES. This, I think, was one of the first, if not the first, video of his that I saw.
When you said that too, I think it may have been the first one that I saw of his as well.
Yeah. I remember that one very vividly, how he was talking about being up on the top, fighting like Bebop, I think, and using Donatello at the top of in the corner of the screen and hitting him with the bow staff. And and swimming the water level in that game. Ugh. And how frustrated he got with the water level in that game.
So awful.
That to me was one of the most memorable episodes. So even though I already own the cart, now I have a cart signed by James Rolfe.
That was a great idea. Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing. So I'm thinking about getting this one kind of in a shadow box or something for my game room.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Because like I said, he's like superstar, man. Superstar status as far as I'm concerned.
Gaming royalty.
That's right. I got to meet. I also got to meet Pixel Dan. Now I've met him last year and I believe the year before. That is one of the coolest guys you'll ever meet, and I'm dead serious when I say that. I walked up to him, and this happened last year too. I went up there and talked to him about figure collecting, and I used to be really big into that when I was young. And I told him how I got my start with collecting Star Wars figures when they re-released those movies. And that was actually how he got his start too. He said, yeah, I bought all those figures and, and now you just got tons of them and they're not worth anything. And yeah, all of mine are sitting up in my attic, and we got to talking about McFarlane toys. Both of us, one of our first jobs was at Toys R Us so we could buy more toys. Oh, cool. I thought that was hilarious. I was relating with him on a level that I'd never seen with other people as far as toy collecting goes. I don't think I would be into collecting video games if it weren't for my love of collecting action figures first,
right.
Which started when I was a kid. So I had a great time talking to him. Who else did I meet? We met Chad Tronic. Now I'm not real familiar with his videos. He seems to be, whether he likes it or not, his videos are more kids. The kids like them. And I don't know if that's purpose, but you know what? If you can be a good positive influence on the kids, I say go for it.
Absolutely.
I totally would.
For sure.
So he was there. My daughters love him. I mean, my oldest is getting ready to turn 12, and Amy went and bought her a birthday card and brought it up to his booth so he could sign it to her. And then we bought a comic book that he just put out, and we took a picture with him, or Amy took a picture with him, and we got home and gave it to her, and she literally was crying because she was so excited. that
That's
really made our
awesome.
day. Yeah.
That's cool.
So that was really cool. Actually, I don't remember who else I met there, and a lot of these guys I've met in previous years because they go to Retropalooza every year,
Sure.
or a lot of them do. So that was cool. I always like going and meeting those guys, and just talking games with them. Seeing what pushes them forward as far as creating their content, and
Yeah.
the answer is the same with everybody. It's the passion, the love of the hobby, and I agree. It's the same for me.
Oh, and like as we mentioned, to backtrack a little bit, when we were talking to Dreamcast guy, like after he got up and left eventually, like I was like on fire. I was like ready to go record like 12 videos. I was like, oh my god, we're gonna make it. We're gonna do this. Yes,
Dude.
Oh, I was ready.
Isn't he just like so enthusiastic to talk to?
Yes.
And encouraging? I got the same impression from him last year. I went up to his booth and was talking to him last year about I was talking to him about just creating content and how you come up with ideas. And he turns out a lot of videos, and they're all really great, and he's got a lot of great opinions to share about all of them. And I was like, how do you create this? How do you create these ideas so consistently? And his answer to me was simple. He has a note app on his phone, and anytime he thinks of something, he writes it in his app. And most of them won't get used, but for the few that do get used, the ideas are constantly coming forward. So after I left that show, I did the same thing, and I was like, why didn't I do this before? This seems like so obvious. And sure enough, it helped a lot. Like I was able to line up several different topics and show notes for future episodes by just jotting down different ideas.
Right. Right.
I really do. I feel stupid for not thinking of that before, but I mean, it was just it was his enthusiasm and his willingness to help and talk to me about it that really encouraged me. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, overall, it was a great year. I loved it. Would you go back?
Yeah, I would definitely.
Yeah. Next year is gonna be awesome, man. I can't wait. I'm super stoked for it.
I definitely want to make sure that I get a room in that hotel again, though.
Yeah. Oh, me too. So that hotel was literally right next door to the convention center, and which was very convenient. My hotel was a little bit further away, but not that bad.
No, you guys were still pretty close.
Yeah, I think we were a 5-minute drive away. So, even still, though, I mean, the location was perfect, and I thought that hotel was cool. You were on the what, 14th floor?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, man, that was cool looking out over everything up there, and
a big TV in the room too.
Oh, not to mention all the YouTubers stay there. So
yeah. Well, yeah, but for me, I'm so awkward. Like that just only made it worse and made me more nervous. Like when I was waiting for you guys to come get me for the when we went to the barcade. AVGN and the Completionists were both sitting in the lobby also, and I'm just like,
what do I do? What do I do?
Hurry up! So yeah, I just get so freaking nervous in those kind of situations. So, and that's why I made me so happy that I had people to hang out with. Because honestly, like full disclosure, if you guys weren't there, I would have spent way more time just in my hotel room, away from everybody else, because that kind of stuff just terrifies me. I would have made like several passes around the vendor room, and that would have been it. I would have gone down there just for the games, and that would have been it.
Well, I mean, there's not. I mean, unless you're out talking to people or hanging out with people, there's not much other than doing that. I mean, oh my gosh, I must have made like half a dozen trips to every single booth, if not more.
Yep.
I mean, and then even still, I would still find things I didn't see the first time around. So
right, and for an extreme introvert, that's it's tough to branch out from just that. So
well, I'm glad you did, because I felt like we had an awesome time just hanging out, and we got to go try some different restaurants. That was kind of an experience.
Yeah, we ate something different every single time we ate.
We did.
We traveled around the world basically.
Yes, we did, and you can thank Amy for that because
Yeah.
she loves like ethnic food, but she also loves to not eat the same thing over again. And I'm kind of with her on that, and so I support it. But
No
I mean,
complaints.
out of the places we went, what was your favorite?
You know what? I think my favorite had to be the Korean place, the last one we went to.
I'm gonna have to agree with you there. Yeah,
That was really,
definitely.
really good.
The very close second for me was actually that Greek or Mediterranean place we went to.
That was good too. Yeah.
That place was odd. It was like a buffet.
Tiny.
It was really tiny, like hole in a wall place, and it was a buffet, but it had nothing but like Mediterranean ethnic food, but not in the Americanized way. It was more like traditional stuff that I don't think I've ever really had before.
Whatever it was good.
Yeah, that was fun. So, man, that's all I got to talk about Retropalooza. You got anything else to add?
Nothing crazy. I have a pickups video that I recorded on Monday that'll be coming out this Sunday. And that's this Sunday, whatever the date is. Because I don't know when you're actually putting this out. It'll be the 7th. So
okay, yeah, this show will be out the day after.
Okay, all right. So it's already by this time. Then it's most likely already up on my channel, Game Room Revival. And then also I have the one that we did that we recorded from my hotel room where we talk about our 5 games that we'd like to see on an N64 Classic. Which actually, my own fault. I need to put a black bar on the bottom of it across because I was wearing shorts and you could totally see like way too much leg, and I'm just not, it's really not that bad, but it's a little more than I'm comfortable with. So I got to do something about that before I actually post that one. The content's good, but we'll stick with the audio on that one.
Especially with that big ring light, glaring off of everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Oh man, sorry about that.
Well,
we tried to frame it.
No, because you even said you're like it's right about at your knees. Is that okay? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's fine, totally. And then I watched the video when I got home, and I was like, no, we're not doing that. Nope.
You forgot to shave that day.
Dude. So I will. I mean, I just have to like do something to cover up the bottom, like I don't know, 6th of the screen or something. So it's not. It's really not horrible. It's just it's a personal self-conscious thing.
Oh, dude, so. I would do the same thing. There was an episode that we did, Ryan and I did, of the show, and I was wearing shorts that day, and yeah, the shorts came up a little bit higher than I would have liked, so I ended up having to crop my legs out. So yeah, I get it. Yeah. Well,
so
cool,
that'll be out in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. All right. Yeah, I'm excited to see how that one turned out. That was kind of fun. I felt like I was getting more talky than I probably needed to.
That's what it's there for, man. Heck yeah. We just talk. That's what it is. That's what made this trip so great. Is I know you and I were both. We just gushed the entire time about shit we like, and that's what it's all about.
That was probably my favorite part. I mean, we got to nerd out on some topics that I don't get to talk to people about.
Right.
I can talk to Amy all day long about this stuff, but she doesn't care. She does a great job of pretending like she does, but she can't really she can't converse about it. She can just take it in.
That's the thing is you've said that to me before, but like I told you, I mean, you as much as I love you guys' show, like some of my favorite episodes are when it's just you and Amy going back and forth. I mean, you and Ryan are great also because you have your own dynamic, but I mean, there's something there in every single episode, regardless of, how you think she may not be reciprocating as much. It definitely, it comes off awesome. You guys, seriously.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That means a lot. I did fail to mention at the beginning of the show, Ryan did not go to Retropalooza. He called me sick the day of Retropalooza saying he wasn't going to be there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
It's too bad.
So, anyway, I think that's where we're going to call it. JJ, thank you so much for joining me on this episode. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Of course. Anytime.
And we've already said it before, but you can find JJ on YouTube, Game Room Revival. Do you want to plug your Twitter account or anything like that?
I can, but I'll have to spell it. It's at JJ Santanello, JJSantanIello. If you just go to the YouTube channel, all my videos have a follow me on Twitter down below, and you can just click that link and it'll take you right to it. So
I don't mean to bring up another topic when I'm already trying to close things out, but I think it's hilarious that you used to, your channel used to be called Reminiscence Revival for the same. And
you had to bring it up. You just had to go there. We were getting ready to close it off. We were getting ready to finish up. You were going to close it off.
You were saying something about your last name, and I was like, oh, yeah. Well,
yes. When Revival. I first started my channel, the original name was Reminiscence Revival.
Which is a great name.
Which actually, after we get done, I got to tell you the name I think I came up with for the review series, like we talked about.
Okay, yeah.
But so I like the name. However, I didn't like how often I had to spell it to people when they would say, well, "What's your channel?" Be like, all right, REM, and then they would always spell it wrong. And then so I was like, Game Room, spell that. It's good. And then I like it too. I like Game Room Revival, so it's all good.
Honestly, I thought it was hilarious because even I had a little bit of a problem spelling reminiscence. It's just not one of those words that you spell all the time, and it's an awkward spelling.
Full disclosure, every time I would put hashtags, I would have to look up how to spell it too. And it was the name of my damn channel. So.
Well, I think you made a good move.
For my benefit.
Good move on changing it to Game Room Revival. That's a little bit easier. And actually, it describes your channel. I mean, you're kind of building your collection. Also, talking about these older games in your game room. It's reviving the hobby, reviving these classic retro games. I think it's a great name.
For sure. Thanks.
All right. Thanks again, JJ. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hi guys, we're at Retropalooza 6 in Arlington, Texas, and I am here with my friend JJ from Game Room Revival. We are out looking for some games today and check out some panels and see what's up with everything going on. So, JJ, I understand you're looking for a few games.
I am, and unfortunately, I've been here for the past 2 hours, and I have not had the greatest luck. I mean, I found some cool stuff, but
already in 2 hours' time, though, you got 3 games. That's pretty good.
I did, and it was just spur of the moment, like, oh, cool, like I want it. So and I got a decent deal on them. But I've been trying to find Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins, and the Mega Man Battle Network games, both of which are. I guess they go really quick from what people have been telling me. So,
really? Okay. Yeah. So we're on a mission to find 6 golden coins and any of the Battle Network games or one specific?
Any of them. Preferably the first one I started from the beginning, but I mean, even if I don't have them, I can still get them on the Wii U. So I'm not too worried about that.
True.
I shouldn't say get them. I already have them on the Wii U.
But you can't play them portably.
Exactly.
That's kind of the thing. All right. So we'll have to go out and find those games. I do have a few on my list as well, so I'm going to be on the hunt. JJ hopefully is going to be helping me out. Amy's behind the camera. She's going to be helping me out.
She just waved.
I'm actually looking for a few games that I never really see, and MS Saga on the PlayStation 2 is what I'm looking for.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the Jade Cocoon games, both the PS1 and the PS2 games. Yep. And besides that, I have a bunch of games on my list. If I see something at a good deal, I'm going to grab it. Otherwise, I'm going to stick with, those are my goal games, and I'm going to try to find